Welcome back to Finnegan's Garage. Do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That helps me immensely. And if you're feeling froggy, buy some merch, because that's really where all the money comes from that enables us to build things and make bad financial decisions and content for you. This time on Finnegan's Garage, we've got the death metal Charger in the house. That is my 1968 Dodge Charger, the rustiest, most unsafe Mopar you've probably never seen in your life. And it is fresh off of a roadkill shoot where Tony Angelo and I swapped a 2JZ under the hood of that Charger in place of the old Mopar big block. I'll pause for the hate to subside. All right, if you're done being angry, let's move on. Fresh motor up front, really good transmission in the middle, horrible rear at the back end of the car. This thing has a Willys Timken rear end, which is a full floating rear axle with 488s that you can't really do anything with. You can't put a limited slip in it, you can't put a spool in it, we can't even re-gear it, and it's making crazy noises. I'm pretty sure it's about to explode. So, today we're gonna be putting in a quick performance 9-inch that is something special. Freshy. Yeah. Boys at Quick Performance came through again. That's right. For all you people at home that were wondering when we're going to start working on cars again, it's happening right now. Death Melt Charger, getting a new rear axle and a handle. Got second pair of calipers. Yeah. Let me help you. Nice, dude.
That is sick.
You ever seen a 9-inch that wide before? And with two little calipers that will fit inside of our OG Firestone 8-lug steelies. Yeah. We need cotton to build fender flares for the back end of that car to match the front now. Dude, that thing is wide.
So the Timken is like a little taller too, so we're gonna gain some space on the height too.
Oh, we're gonna lower it back down. We're gonna have to C-notch the frame rails, get it as low as it used to be. That OG Joe Barry status.
Dude, the tag just fell off the dash. I heard the belt fell out, and it went through the transmission hole, and I heard it hit the ground. It's right out there in your driveway. Look.
It actually doesn't work. I wired it up when we were in Florida at Kevin's place, and it doesn't work.
Well, it really doesn't work now, so the bolt's out there somewhere.
I'll get it. Oh, yeah. There's the bolt. Look, there's the washer. Here's the washer that was underneath it. Not crucial. Not even worried about it.
Or how much work would it take to like put this car back to like a nice car? What do you think? Do you think it's even possible? Do you think it's too hacked up or?
No, I don't think anything's impossible. I think you totally could.
Yeah.
But you'd be throwing away the entire body. Like the roof is probably okay. Sail panel, bottom piece here is okay. And that's it. Everything else
like
is.
The A-pillars are good.
Yeah. You have a roof.
Yeah.
That's it. There's
no
no
rockers.
Yeah, there's no rockers, there's no trunk floor, there's no quarter, there's no front fenders, there's no hood. I'll never do it.
Socket you giving me, man. Saw this tape.
Holding the record, huh? 8 lugs. Oh, you're slipping.
We ever figure out what ratio is in this?
488 from the factory.
Really?
First gear is useless in this car. Or at least it was when it had a motor that only revved to 5,000 RPM. With the 2J, you got all kinds of gear left there.
I'm getting daily hate on the 2J.
Good.
You ruined it. You ruined the car. It's no more American muscle. It's junk.
Dude, if I could get the license plate ruined, I would bolt it on half the stuff I own. Because that's how most people feel. We ruined the Caddy. We ruined the Charger. Ruined Blasphemy.
I have good news.
Oh, dude, production left a light in there.
Suckers.
How do you charge these?
Oh.
We'll save it for him. You can see all the way to the front of the car. Why did he cut all this out? I don't understand this. I guess that was the easiest way to run that tube all the way through the car that didn't need to be there. The springs look like they've been at the bottom of a fish tank. Look at how thin the leaves are, though.
Yeah.
Farmer Joe was onto something. He's like, yeah, lots of leaves, but really thin. Pack will move a lot. Look, it's even got little sliders on there. I wonder what these springs came off of. Because they're not for this car, that's for sure. That's the stuff right there. Blaster. Stuff works. Oops.
Oh.
Oops. Well, I got a little aggressive there. Don't worry about it. Professional. Let's see. Which end do we want to take off? How about this one? Oh, it's through bolted. Dude, we're going to take this right off the car. A little Joe Barry special there. Panhard bar made out of some steering links off of probably a Ford Model T. Like, dude, it's old. It's sketchy.
I like the vent holes cut to the back of the backing plates there.
Right? Dude. You can't have your drums heating up when you're in the middle of a NASCAR race. Dude, no way. The brake line should come off pretty easy because Tony and I had to put that in there for the roadkill shoot, so that should come out. And that shock should come off pretty easy. So I mean, by the time we get the brake line undone and the shock undone, the P blaster will have loosened this stuff up. So if I'm not mistaken, this originally came in a Willys truck, 49 to 53. It's a rear end made by Timken. It has 488s in it, and we can't do anything to it. Can't put a limited slip in it, can't put a locker in it, can't re-gear it. All you can find are service parts for this rear end. And that popcorn welded
Dude, that's what I'm looking at.
pad is ready to come off.
I'm telling you, like, look at them. I don't see how they were on there with the abuse you've given this car. I don't see how those stayed.
That's pretty amazing. And these are drum brakes off of a Ford F-250, like mid-70s truck. Full floating rear end, but makes a lot of noise, ready to die at any moment. So now, this goes away, and in its place, oh, one of the sexiest things I've ever seen. All right, this is why I like the dudes at Quick Performance. You call them up, you tell them what kind of whacked idea you've got, they usually don't say no. So this is a 9-inch fabricated housing, 1/4-inch thick axle tubes, boxed leaf spring perches, 35 spline axles with 8 on 6.5-inch bolt pattern to fit our old steel wheels. And the best part, custom dual Willwood 4-piston calipers so we can have disc brakes for driving and a second set of calipers for a handbrake for drifting. It has a Yukon nodular case, 370 gears, positive traction. Like, this thing is beef compared to what we had in that car. And the car's just gonna be a lot more fun to drive. With 488s, this thing, first gear, was just pretty much useless, even with the Tremec 6-speed in there. And on the highway, that motor screamed. You'd go down the highway at like 3,000 RPM at like 65 miles an hour. This is gonna be much better. It's gonna lower our cruising speed. We're gonna have better traction, more durability, and like I said, grip it and rip it. Drift brake.
Yeah, we're gaining a little height here too. Like, this is lower right here than this. So
Yeah.
you'll be able so that won't hit the bottom of the car, but we're still gonna run to the frame rails.
Yeah, we're gonna have to notch and plate the frame rails because I do want to lower the car down. When the 2J swap happened in here, which you guys haven't seen on the channel because it's for an episode of Roadkill, we raised the motor and transmission up so the transmission bell housing is no longer dragging on the ground like it used to be, which is why I was able to lower the front of the car again back to the way it was when I originally bought it. And the back of the car is up. We still have 3 holes left in that leaf spring hanger that we can lower the car with. And so I'd like to bring it up 1, maybe 2 holes and get this thing just hammered low. So we'll put this in here, we'll mark the frame rails, we'll cut and then plate the frame rails and then go have fun with it. Let's try to put a wheel on it.
Ooh, yeah.
Before we get it all the way up in there.
Okay.
Because the whole reason we did 8-lug was to keep those old Firestone wheels. Like, they look like a motorhome wheel, But those were legit Firestone racing wheels from the late 60s, early 70s that guys ran on their dirt track cars. Maybe even NASCAR, I don't know. But I love the wheels. I want them to stay with the car, which is why we went with 8 lug on a 9-inch, which is kind of a weird combo. All right, come on, baby. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's stopping it? Oh, there's bolts. Or there's nuts. Hold on. Wait a minute. There's a nut. Oh. I was like, wait a minute. Why is this working? My
heart sank.
I know.
I was like, no.
Let me get that off. Yes! Dude.
With room to spare, dude, you have an inch of clearance around these calipers to the wheel.
Dude. And the lug nuts will center the wheel because it's tapered.
Yep.
Because it's not hub-centric. Dude. Oh, let's go. Look at it, dude. Dual calipers on a dirt track car. Dude, that is a sweet kit right there. Let's stop this video real quick. And I need to ask you one more time. Can you hit the subscribe button for me? You probably forgot to do it. I know you want to. Right now, please. Thank you. On with the show. Follow cam going here. Oh, bumped it into the ground.
Got the drone?
Oh, yeah. Why you gotta bring up old stuff? And right now, what we're doing is we're just gonna set it on the ground and look at the stance and see, do we need to adjust that before we do all the welding? Yeah, man. Hope you can get the jack out.
As long as the tire diameter is...
Dude, it's low. It's lower than it was. I wanted it lower. Like I want this thing way lower than it was. Because it looked weird. Oh, dude, this is nice. This is good. And here's the thing, like the front of the car, the torsion bars, whenever I set them, it always sags and comes down. And so the front needs to come up just a hair. Like I'd raise the front 3/4 of an inch and then this thing will look pimp. What I want to know is there any clearance between the frame rails and the axle tubes?
So right now there's a bracket above the housing that it's hitting. I think that's going to limit you.
Can you see any of it? Dude, that pumpkin is pointing down. Like a lot. Like from back here, I can see the back of the housing and the whole thing's pointed down. So we definitely need to cut the tanks and re-angle this thing.
You got about 1.5 inches above the top of the axle housing to the frame rail over here.
Dude, that's not bad.
A good set of shocks, you can kind of stiffen it up. It'll be fine.
I'll take an inch of bump. Why not? Then we don't have to step notch the frame.
So let's fix the pinion angle.
Yep.
I'll cut out that bracket above, those brackets above the housing. We should be good.
Let's put it up on race ramps. We're gonna raise the front of the car about 3/4 of an inch. Then we'll measure our pinion angle. Then we'll cut these and re-angle this.
Okay.
Bolt some shocks in. Good to go. Dude, this thing looks dope. It's so much lower than it ever was because we don't have headers dragging on the ground anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No exhaust.
Trans, the bell housing is no longer dragging on the ground. I mean, it hangs a little bit, but not as bad as it was. Like when we put the 2J in there, we raised everything up like really far.
Dude, this thing is.
It's custom. So you can see back there, see where the torsion bar goes through that cross member? That's the original cross member where the adjuster would have been. Except Joe Barry torched it out and put C-body torsion bar boxes back there behind it. These are longer. Here's where the adjusters are right here. Basically, you turn it clockwise to raise the car up, turn it counterclockwise to lower the car. We're gonna raise it up about 3/4 of an inch. There's a gap there. Is there supposed to be a gap there?
That smashed the ground at some point.
The cotter pin's in there, but there's a gap as if this never got fully tightened. Or the boot, no, never mind. I think the boot just got tore off. Maybe where I ran over a curb or something. So let's check the ride height now. As long as it's level and even and tires aren't gonna hit the fender flares, then we can measure our pinion angle and then go to the back and reset that pinion angle. This is very, very scientific. So see right here, you got a low spot in the galvanized fender flare. Then you got a high spot here, you got a high spot here. You got to split the difference, you know, take the average. So I'm calling this 39 1/4 from the ground up here. Now we'll go to the other side, because we got to make sure she's level. I want that alignment to be perfect. 38 1/2, but you got to account for the dents that aren't here on this side. So I'm saying it's probably more like, you know, 38 3/4. So this side could stand to come up. And then, you know, if all else fails, give her the old eagle eye. Because from here, I'm saying, yeah, it's a little low, maybe a 1/4 inch. I'm gonna give it just a...
Measure to here.
I'm gonna give it one more ugga-dugga. All right. 38 3/4. $38 1/2. So pretty much there's no straight sheet metal on this car. And all of the inner fender, which is the support for the front half of the car, is gone. So you really can't measure a bumper to ground number, maybe a fender to ground, fender to hood, none of that. Don't measure anything. Just look at it and go, how's your chakras feeling, Mike? They feel pretty good. I'm gonna say it's like an 1/8 to a 1/4 on this side. Just 2 ugga-duggas and we're dialed. Then we can move to the back. There we go. All right, and just because we're gonna measure here, just because. 23 3/4. 25, yeah. So don't measure anything. Like when I got the car, it was a roller, and world's worst roll cage. Inner fender's completely cut out. So we tried to jack the car up, and the car was bending in half, because in a car like this, the inner fenders are the structure. So what we did was extended the roll cage forward to the frame rails, got them level as best we could, and then welded a bar from the firewall to there. But yeah, they're good enough for who they're for.
I wonder if the accident this car was in, if that's, you know, one of the reasons it's like that.
There's that. Like Joe Barry had like 4 photos of the car when it was done, and it looked nice. And he couldn't remember what parts he replaced. I was like, was it doors, hood, fenders, what? He didn't remember any of it. So I don't know how bad the accident was, other than it was totaled. All right, so I'm calling the front end level, but the back end is not level because we got to cut that brace under the floor that's sitting on the pumpkin. So we'll jack up the back of the car now, cut that sheet metal out, and then let it back down, and hopefully this sits level. Dude, the stance is money. Look at this thing. It's pretty level. Rear end's in there a little crooked, but dude, she looks like an eagle ready to soar through the sky. Okay, rear end is in, old leaf springs still intact. The car is ridiculously low now. Like, the stance is exactly what I wanted it to be. And we didn't even have to cut the frame rails. I'm actually surprised by that. We are going to have to replace our shocks though, because the old Monroes, well, they're not straight anymore. I don't know how much. Yeah, they don't damp. When they're bent like that, apparently there's no travel. They don't really work. So these are coming out, and in place of them, we are going to get rid of our non-adjustable and bent Monroes and instead install some brand new, fresh QA1s. These are the Stalker series of shocks, and that means that these are made to bolt into the stock shock mounts on your muscle car or hot rod. That won't work here because, well, to be honest, there's nothing solid to really bolt these to. Everything's rusty. And the car has been lowered so much that if you were to mount the shock on top of our 9-inch axle, the other end of that shock ends up in the package tray area. And that is where Joe Barry had these Monroes mounted. They were actually bolted to a bar that went across between the 2 pillars. Like, they didn't go to the chassis of the car. So whenever we bottomed out the shocks, they were basically bending a bar that was just attached to the sheet metal of the quarter panels and the pillars. So we're gonna redo that. These rule. You can get them with spherical bearings, you can get them with bushings like we did. You can even get them with a stud mount on one end. They have 18 clicks of adjustability both on rebound and compression side. It's a really good all-around shock, and although not perfect for our application, we can use the provided hardware that we got also from QA1 to put our own shock mounts both on the axle and on the other end of the car.
So we'll have to go on front of the axle because the back of the axle is braced. So basically, where would it end up? Oh man, this is good. This is really, really close to where that original bar was going across. It will be really close to reaching the roll bar right there, and we might be able to just weld these tabs right there. There's that much bump travel between the axle and the frame. So call it 2 inches. We have about 1 inch of bump travel on the shock. I would almost say move the mount up even further to give it just a hair more. Or down, sorry, down.
Yeah, I'm confused. I was like, I'm confused.
Yeah, sorry, down. Everything's backwards today.
I was like, man, you're gonna close the gap more, okay?
Okay, so right now, that's 9 inches. Now we'll install it. See how much it compresses. So we've compressed it about 1 inch at ride height right here.
Pull it back out. Let's measure the shaft now.
7 7/8. So about 1 1 1/8 is how much we compressed it right there at ride height. And that's with it sitting in the current set of holes in the mounts. So that means we've got about 1 1/8 worth of extension left in it if we install it like that. So if we move it down another set of holes, we can give it a little more extension, a little more travel in that direction.
This may not work. I'm trying to get more use of your bracket because you're getting further away from it.
I'm with you. Alright, so there's that. Bingo.
That looks good.
Yeah, that'll work too.
What is that contacting it up? Is that his little 3/4 inch bar, or is that the roll cage?
No, that's the roll cage.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Joe Barry knew 50 years later we'd get some sweet QA1s and some actual brackets, and we'd put them where he intended these shocks to go. Thank you, Joe Barry. Thank you. All you gotta do is go inside the car, MIG weld those tabs to the roll cage, and then move these brake lines real quick. MIG weld this to that tube, and shocking, I know, it's done. Oh, I love the flapper. Love the flapper. This will be the first time I've driven this car with the 2J and with the hood bolted down where I can actually get after it. First drive with the new shocks and the new rear end. Still doesn't have a front sway bar, and it's still rocking the stock control arms up front that are all hacked up. Here we go. So there's definitely lag. It takes a little while before you get any action out of it. But once it starts spooling, it makes good power. I think right now it's set at like 15 pounds of boost. It makes like 430 at the tire. So we went from a rear end that had 488s to 373s.
cruises much better. Because before, first gear was absolutely useless. I love it when the flapper goes flappy flap flap. Oh my god, dude, once it starts spooling, it's aggressive. I need to put a transmission tunnel in it. Right now I have a blanket over the trans, and the blanket keeps blowing up. Oh, it's so cool. Alright, so let's do a speed check. That's 5th. That's 6th. So 60 miles an hour is about 1,700 RPM. She's a freeway flyer now. Alright, let's try 3rd gear. Oh man, I love this car. It's got a bit of a shake. That's probably the tires. I don't know if they're actually round. Like, we're driving around on Hoosier dirt track tires, so. Oh my god, this car's so cool. I don't even care that it takes a second or two to spool up and make real power. The noises are glorious. Woo! This makes me so happy. Look, Death Metal has a drift brake handle. So earlier we showed you that awesome rear axle that's set up with 8 lug wheels and 2 sets of calipers. The first set of calipers is connected to the brake system, the master cylinder, under the hood, operates off the pedal. The second set of calipers goes directly to this remote master cylinder from Willwood. This is the GS series. This particular one has a 3/4 inch bore. It is designed for drift braking, and we combined it with this Sicky handle and mount for it. And so you have master cylinder and reservoir all in one. They also sell this with a remote reservoir if you want to fill the fluid somewhere else. We went with the one with the reservoir built right into the master cylinder. And so the way this works is haul butt towards something you want to slide sideways around, grab the handle, pull on it, fluid goes to the back, goes to that second pair of calipers, locking them, making the car slide while not affecting the front brakes of the car, which is the key. Newburn built this cool transmission tunnel to cover the giant hole that's in the floor, and it also doubles as the mount for our drift brake handle, and we are now ready to fill it with fluid, bleed it, and then go test drive the car. And if you guys want any of this stuff, don't worry, there's links in the description for everything we use in this video. The rear end, the drift brake handle, all this stuff. So you'll know where to go get this so you can do the same to your own 1968 Dodge Charger with a 2J and a Tremec transmission from Silver Sport. Because I know it's going to be super popular. Let's go.
Maybe not use the 2-inch water pipe for your cage.
Dude, that's 3-inch down there. Look at this. That's 1/4 inch wall, 3-inch. That's the new hotness. Like 2022. Everyone's going to have 3-inch rocker pipe down there for their roll cages. It's going to happen. You crash the car and you total it, you just replumb your house. Use the leftovers.
You have $5,000 in scrap metal.
There we go. All right. The tires are too good.
Yeah, you're running slicks too, so
Yeah, the tires are too good. On the gravel, this will be perfect.
Yeah.
But on the street, you basically have to pump it once and then grab it as hard as you can. It will lock them at that point. But it is working. Because if I was trying to bed the pads in and you just grab it like that and the car slows down. It does work.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this thing on dirt or gravel, oh man, it's gonna be a rocket. It's gonna be fun.
That's where it needs to go because it's hard to try to flick it on the street with no power steering in this big old wheel.
Yeah.
But on the gravel, this thing's gonna be a riot.